Hey, how's it going, guys? In this tutorial, I'm going to walk you through the process to set up and run Python script in Power BI. So I have been working with Python for 6+ years, focused mostly on data analytics, automation scripts, reporting, and business application development. By having the capability of executing Python scripts in Power BI, we will have more tools to run data analysis tasks or integrate Power BI with third-party APIs to make our reporting more dynamic. Now let's look at the agenda for this tutorial. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to install Python software, how to create a Python virtual environment for Power BI development, how to install Python packages. So when people say packages, they should mean Python libraries. And I'll show you how to configure Python development settings in Power BI. And lastly, I will show you how to import a dataset from an external data source with Python, as well as how to create a data visualization with Python. Since I already installed Python on my PC, I'm going to use the sandbox for this part of demonstration. Now open your browser and navigate to python.org. Now hover your mouse to the Downloads menu. Then click on this button to download the software. Alright, so here I'm going to go into my Downloads folder. And the latest version is Python 3.10.3. I'm going to double click on the file to launch the installation process. So the first step is where a lot of people mess up. So most of the tutorials will tell you to click on Install Now. If you click on Install Now, it's going to install the software in the App Data folder. And the App Data folder is a hidden folder used to store application and file settings. Instead, I'm going to check these two options: Install Launcher for all users and add Python 3.10 to path. Then click on Customize Installation. On the Option Features page, I'll recommend that you check everything. Then click on Next. On the Advanced Options page, I'll check everything except the first option, Install for all users. Then I'm going to click on Browse to change the installation location. I'm going to point the installation location to my C drive. Under my C drive, I'm going to create a separate folder called Python Software. And because you can install multiple versions of Python software, so I also recommend that you create a separate folder for each Python version that you're installing. So under the Python software folder, I'm going to create a new folder. I'll name the folder Python 3. And right now I'm installing Python 3 version 10.3. So I'm going to insert 10_3 to represent Python 3.10.3. Now select Python 3.10.3 folder as the folder, then click on OK. Then click on Install. Once the installation is complete, open the terminal. I'm going to launch my command prompt. And to make sure that you have successfully installed Python on your PC, you can type the command python -- version, and that prints the Python version installed on your PC. Now I can close this window. Now we have successfully installed Python. For the next step, I'm going to show you how to create a Python virtual environment for Power BI development. So a Python virtual environment is a separated environment that is completely isolated from the default core environment. Anything you do in a virtual environment will not impact Python's default environment or other virtual environments. To create a virtual environment, first, pick a directory where you want to store the virtual environment setup files. So for my virtual environments, I create all my environments under my Python VMV folder. In this folder, I have about 16 virtual environments. Each folder represents a virtual environment. And to create a virtual environment, launch your terminal in the folder where you want to create the virtual environment. In the terminal, you want to type Python -m. M stands for module. And you want to use the venv module, followed by the name that you want to assign to your environment. And let's say I want to, here, let me delete this folder. Now let's say I want to name my environment Power BI. So I'll type Python -m venv Power BI and enter. And I'll create a folder called Power BI. So this Power BI directory is going to be your virtual environment for any Power BI reporting development. Now the next item is going to be how to activate and deactivate environment. Alright, so if we look at the files, so this little file is the folder to store all your Python libraries files. The include folder has no purpose, so don't have to worry about this folder. The scripts folder have all the files that are required to run a Python program. And to activate and deactivate environment, we want to run deactivate.bat file or the deactivate.bat file. So I'm going to list out all the libraries I have installed on my default environment. So I can use the command piplist. And you will see that I only have two packages installed, pip and setup tools. So the pip package is the tool that I use to install Python libraries. And the setup tools package is the tool that Python uses to install the library. Now I'm going to activate the environment by running this active.bat file. And it should be a script active. Oh, I forgot the Power BI directory name. So let me navigate to Power BI directory first. Then I'm going to type scripts /active. And we don't need to type the extension name. And I know the environment is activated because here we have this Power BI represent the environment name. And to activate the environment, we can run the deactive.bat file. Now let me put that back. Right, so we have done these two items. For the Python libraries, we need to install pandas and matplotlib. So these two libraries are required by Power BI. So the pandas library is used for data analysis related tasks. And matplotlib is a Python library that we use for all sorts of data visualization related tasks. I'll also recommend that you install Seaborn and Requested libraries. The Seaborn library is a wrapper based on the matplotlib library. Using the Seaborn library, we'll have access to some of the pre-built templates. And the Requested library is a Python library that we use to make a request code to third-party APIs. And to install the libraries, I'm going to use the command pip install, followed by the library's name. And we can separate each library by using a space, followed by the library's name. And enter. And once all the libraries are installed, we can move on to the next step, which is to configure Python development setting in Power BI. Now in Power BI, you want to go to File, then go to Options and Settings, Options, click Python Scripting. Under the Python script options, we want to set the Python's home directory to the virtual environment. Now navigate to the Power BI virtual environment. Expand the folder. Then click Scripts and click on OK. So this is going to be the home directory path that Power BI is going to access. And if you use an IDE for your Python development, then you can select the IDE file. And for my default IDE, I'm using VS Code. So this file path is pointing to my VS Code executable file. And click OK to finish the setup. Alright, so the last two items are going to be import a dataset from external data source using Python, as well as how to create data visualization with Python. I'll be using the 311 code matrices by month dataset by dataset. So here I'm going to grab the download link by clicking on export. Then I'm going to right click on CSV and I'll grab the download link. And I'll put the link somewhere in a notepad. Go to the data view. Click on home, get data, and click on more to show more options. From the get data page, click on other. Then want to click on Python script. Then click on connect. In the Python script editor, I'm going to import pandas module. So I'm going to type import pandas as PD. And to import the dataset, because the dataset is in CSV file, so I'm going to use the read CSV method. Then I'm going to insert the link. And I'll name the output as dataset. So this variable name is going to be the table name that Power BI is going to use to name the table. Now click on OK. On the navigator's page, so here we have this dataset table that we can import. So I'm going to check this table, and I'll review the dataset first, and everything looks good to me. Then I'm going to click on Load to import the table into Power BI. On the Fields panel, I'm going to expand dataset. And here the columns belongs to the dataset table. And if we compare the table from the table preview section from the website itself, we shall see that the dataset is identical. And that's how you import external dataset into Power BI using Pandas library. And the last item on the agenda is going to be create data visualization with Python. I'm going to go into the report view. Now click on Python Visual. And here I want to expand dataset model to review all the fields. I'm going to check one of the field box. And I'll enable the script editor. I'm going to delete everything in the editor. Inside the script, I'm going to import Pandas library first. And let me increase the font size. Then I'm going to import matplotlib library. And here I'm going to type import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. I want to import the dataset first. And this time I'm going to rename my dataset as df. So this time I'm going to process the dataset a little bit. I want to extract the year value from the month column. So I'm going to reference the df object. I'll name the column year. And from the df object, we know the dataset is going to look like this. So if we look at the month column, we have the year value in the last 4 characters. I'm going to reference the month column, .string, and I want to grab the last 4 characters, so I'm going to type -4, colon, and that's it. If you want to insert a comment, you can insert $, followed by the comment, and it's going to be year column. So for the visual, I want to create a pivot table using the group by function. And I want to aggregate the codes inside the column and break down by the year column. So I can use the by parameter to specify the grouping. And I want to group the pivot table by the year column, followed by the field that I want to aggregate. And I want to sum the codes inside the column. .sum. And to generate the visual, I need to insert the .plot method. And finally, to generate the chart, I need to type plot.show. I'm going to click on this run button to generate the visualization. And here's the chart that we just created using a Python script. So as you can see, with just a few lines of code, we can quickly import a dataset from an external data source, clean up and process the dataset, and create a report. And we can even use Python to connect to Power BI API to perform additional things. So essentially, the possibility is endless here. So that's everything I want to cover in this video, and hopefully you guys find this video useful. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.